Hi everybody, I'm Dan from the Rock Nerd Radio Show, and today we're doing another round of Which is Better, but this time we're going to be looking at a pretty big Transformers thing. We're going to be taking a look at two different versions of the Combiner Menasor. We're going to be looking at the Combiner Wars version and at the more recent Legacy version. So let's dive in, check it out, and find out which one is better.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
As always, the first round on Which is Better is the paint and overall appearance round. Now, looking at these two figures, each of them have some highlights in places that the other ones don't. It does need to be said that my Combiners War Menasor has a couple of third-party add-on parts on him, namely a new head, the shoulder stacks, and an extension to the sword. I really didn't want to take them off for this video because they're kind of a pain to get off, but that does need to be said. The original head that figure came with looked like something like a robot Satan. The Legacy version has some nice features to it. My least favorite thing is that the leg bods down here and down here are kind of hidden by these panels. Right now he's angled, so you can make them out, but if you're looking at Menasor dead on, you're not going to see those parts, which can be a little bit annoying. I will say that the Combiner Wars one, namely on the robots that form his arms, there is some kibble hanging off, which isn't my favorite thing. I was never really sure how to display those parts. They just kind of ended up like this for the way I was displaying him now. While this one, the Legacy one, the robots just kind of snap on like armor pieces and kind of hide any bits of kibble. They just look like cards that are forming Menasor's armor. So because of these factors, I really have to say that I like the overall appearance of the Legacy one better. The focus of the second round is articulation, and the Combiner Wars Menasor had some very nice articulation for his time. Now I gotta say, I'm a little afraid to do this on camera because it hasn't held up super well, but the robots here at the arms can, move up and down. They are doing this by the combiner joint that's right here, and it is nice and clicky. The arm joints, you kind of have to move the whole thing like this, because otherwise these leg pieces might kind of snap apart, but it does go side to side. It can go in and out. It's almost a double jointed elbow there as well. And then you have these hand joints, which because of the way they're pegged in, can rotate. You can get some nice finger articulation. Of course, I can't get it now, but these pieces do come out, so you can kind of have them grip stuff. There is some thumb articulation. It moves up and down, as well as like this. So there is some nice articulation in the arms. The legs get a little messy because of a few things. First off, transformation for everything, whether it be the body of the robot or what, like it gets to be a little unstable. He does have knee joints, again, because of where the robots are. But this is something that the articulation tends to kind of work against me sometimes. Normally in my display, I have this Menasor propped up against something because he might tend to fall over. Like right now he's standing, but I'm a little afraid to even take my hands away from him because he feels like he might fall over. In terms of articulation for the Legacy version, everything is done via this exoskeleton that the cards are kind of snapped onto like armor. Now, much like the Combiner Wars one, his arms can move up and down, they can raise, they can go in and out. You do have joints at the elbow, so again, they can swivel, they can move up, they can move down, and there is articulation at the wrist as well, so you can rotate if you want to. And these are clicky, so like they kind of make some nice clicking noises as you're going. He has waist articulation, so he does move nicely there. The head moves around. The other one was on a ball joint, so it moved around too. But let's move this arm out of the way. The legs are really nice. There are like some nice, solid ratchet joints here. It's going to support itself. It's going to hold its own weight. It can move up and down. It can move in and out. And again, just like completely supporting itself. It has ankle rockers, which is beautiful for Transformers, especially a big character like this. And then, of course, the knee joint has some nice clicking ratchets to it as well. And they are like tough ratchets. This thing is built to kind of be posed around. Now, I popped it out, but These do have very similar joints to the Combiner Wars one that can just pop back in. And overall, like, I can let go of this one. I don't feel like he's going to fall. He's even standing posed with an arm out right now. So the articulation is mostly the same, but just because of the stability, I gotta say that our Legacy one wins round 2. We're gonna take a look at accessories for round 3, and we're gonna start with the Legacy version. Now, this figure puts very little to waste. I will say, I do have him holding the Core Class Shockwave, but that is not an official accessory, so I'm gonna pull him off to the side. But this figure really has storage for everything and anything you can think of. Right now, he does come with this sword, and I gotta say, the sword is a little stumpy. I might be buying a third-party upgrade. But all the guns for each individual robot, the blasters, they're able to stay on the robot. Like, here they are here, there they are there. And even if you turn around to the back, we got them down here on this leg. The spoiler occupies breakdown, so I just put his gun on Menasor's back. There was room for it. The overall Motormaster figure comes with a trailer that most of it goes into this figure. There is like an additional tower, and there is this gun that if you really wanted him to, you could just have him hold. I wish it were a single peg, but you can just stick that in his hand, and he's holding a blaster. There is no detail here. So one thing that I was doing, once I can get it out, was kind of having him hold it from underneath so you can see the detail there. And thinking about it now, if I do that, I could always stick that extra blaster there so you have like a triple gun. But this looks pretty cool. Like, nothing goes to waste with this figure. Everything has a spot, and I really, really like it. Looking at my Combiner Wars Menasor, you will see that he does come with the sword. Now, this sword is already a third-party upgrade. Like, the middle piece is an extension, so otherwise it was kind of a little stumpy. One of the cool things were these hands and feet that came with the figure. They were actually packaged with the individual limbs, and they would act as a secondary blaster for those characters. They're a little big, they're a little weird looking, but they are there. It is an option that you can have if you choose to display it like that. My biggest gripe is that all the other weapons for each limb bot honestly have no place to go in combiner mode. They came with swords and axes and things like that. So, really, I never have anywhere to put it. They're just off in a bag somewhere. I think they're fine accessories for the individual robots, but they're not really that great if you're trying to display everything together all at once. I never thought it looked good hanging off on any of the robots. So because of that, I gotta say that once again, my Legacy Menasor is going to win the accessory round. In terms of price and availability, if you wanted to get a stock Menasor when this came out during the Combiner Wars era of Transformers, you were looking at spending around $100. I don't remember the actual individual prices for everything, but you weren't going to break the bank. Now, originally, Menasor does have a spot here on his chest where you could stick Blackjack, who was a Micromaster that they put up to whatever the then core class size was. And you can have like that car robot chest shield that he has. And also, one of these robots, I think it was this one, wasn't someone that came stock, or wasn't someone that was originally announced. They had a new mold that they used for the leg. And that ended up being something that I bought because I didn't know if we were getting him. And then when we got, I want to say Wild Rider, I always forget the Stunticons names, please forgive me. When they announced him, I then had to buy another one. And then the original leg bot, I've just kind of had in a box ever since. I don't think he's really been displayed. But this was something that, like, I want to say max was like $130 to get all of this. And it wasn't a terrible price at the time. It was pretty good. Even with the third-party upgrades, like maybe that put this up to like $150 or something, it wasn't breaking the bank. The Legacy version, with modern-day prices being what they are, each of these bots, or the individual robots for the legs and arms, are up on Hasbro Pulse at $25. So that's $100 for just the limbs. Motormaster himself, who forms the exoskeleton, the body, he was a commander class figure, so you're looking at $90 for him. So to get this all together, you're looking at almost $200, $190, That is a huge price difference when compared to our Combiner Wars one. And honestly, if you're not trying to break the bank, this might be easier to get a hold of, the Combiner Wars one. I gotta say, I was doing some research before I started filming this, and it looks like on eBay and stuff, even with upgrades, you can still get the Combiner Wars Menasor for around $100. That might be a direct product of this one coming out and people offloading their old ones, but the price difference is pretty astounding. So if you're looking to save some money, Combiner Wars Menasor might be the way to go. As always, my last round is for display compatibility. This is the part where it's really going to be up to you. And initially, when I was coming up with the idea for this video, when I was laying my ideas out, I really thought there was going to be a clear winner. So far, based on the standings, yeah, there is. But I gotta say, it really depends what you like. The Combiner Wars Menasor had that IDW flair, that comic book inspiration behind it, that we really don't get a lot of from Hasbro anymore. Every now and then we get something as it looked in the IDW universe, but that idea has kind of gone away. We have become very much slaves to the G1 designs, which the Legacy Menasor is most definitely an homage to. Now, my own personal display, I go G1 aesthetic every time. I grew up watching the original Transformers cartoon. It was like my favorite thing in terms of cartoons until the 90s when I discovered X-Men. But this one, the Combiner War, I keep saying Combiner Wars, Legacy Menasor really is hitting that G1 aesthetic for me. That doesn't say that I don't like the IDW aesthetic. I love that IDW run. That whole era of comics, IDW 1 is some of the best Transformers stories, if not the best in my opinion, that we have ever gotten. But again, like, this thing looked like it came out of the IDW comics, and I added things on it, third-party upgrades, to make it look more G1, because that's where I'm always going. So because of that, the display compatibility award is really going to the Legacy Menasor for me. So maybe it was a little bit of a bloodbath, but with a final score of 4-1, the Legacy Menasor is the winner on today's Which is Better. So there you have the final result on this edition of Which is Better. I'm giving a big win to the Legacy Menasor. I gotta say, as far as Menasor goes, it looks perfect to me. I really like it. Yeah, the price is a little high, but I really do like it for my shelf. Your opinion might differ, and that's fine. As always, let me know in the comments what you think. Which Menasor are you going with? Do you even care? And if you can give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, that would be super helpful. Until next time, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome. I'll see you later.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
This is just for the thumbnail. This is just for the thumbnail. Go and make the thumbnail. And now I can press pause.